Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me today on This Needs to Be Read. If you enjoy shows like The Tudors, if you know anything about the other Bowling Girl, if you know anything about the White Queen, then you're going to enjoy my guest today. The first show that I mentioned is not her show, but it's along those same lines. And I have to tell you guys, I'm guilty. I'm just discovering that I'm a fan of hers. I have been watching her work. The other Bowling Girl, it's etched in my head. So it's a story that's been there. It's a show that's been on my watch list and been repeatedly watched. And it was not until this morning that I realized I am getting ready to interview somebody who is so valuable to my literary experience. And then she's able to answer so many questions for me. So I want to welcome Philippa. Oh my gosh, help me. I messed up. I'm so sorry. Philippa Gregory, welcome to This Needs to Be Read. How are you, other than me murdering your name?
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I'm very well, thank you. Glad to be on your show.
So my first question is, make sure I am pronouncing your name right. Let's get off to a better foot. Is it Philippa?
Philippa, usually.
Philippa.
But a lot of American people call me Philippa. Yeah, I don't mind, but usually Philippa.
Philippa. I like to try to get it right, and I practiced. Anyway, thank you so much for the work that you do. How do you produce this? This is the third book in a series, and I didn't even realize it, but it is good without having read the first two, but I'm going to go back, and now you're going to be a permanent part of my physical library and not just a movie I watch on TV. My other thing is, after telling me how long it takes you to create these works, why have I just discovered you? I love you already.
Well, you've got a lot to go at, which is quite nice because I have been writing for a long time, and it usually takes me about 18 months to 2 years to write a novel, and that means that I'm usually on a publishing schedule which works out pretty well annually because I don't start one when I finish one, if you see what I mean. I'm continuously researching and writing, and one of the pleasures of, as you say, setting the books in a time like the Tudors or the royal family that came before them, the Plantagenets, is that you build up a body of research. So I'm very, very rarely now have to look something up. I mostly know it, and if I do have to look it up, then I can look it up in a book that I already own. You know, it's like everything becomes very, very familiar after a while.
Tell me, historical fiction, I've heard it. I don't think I fully understand it. I've been reading all my life, but not a genre that I would have went to knowingly because I didn't know what to call it. I started reading like Pride and Prejudice. So I know I like what you do, but I didn't know to call it historical fiction. So I guess tell me, is that because I like biopics, autobiographies, reading about people's lives. But historical and fiction, how do those two go together?
Well, I think everyone who does it in their own way. So it's not that there's a sort of recipe that you have to follow, and if you don't follow it, then you've done it wrong somehow. I like to give equal weight to the history and the quality of the fictional writing. So the history I research very, very thoroughly, and the dates and the historical people are accurate to the history that we know. So if in the novel it says June 1685, anything that happens at that time to a historical person will have happened in June 1685. Sometimes I can be incredibly detailed. So, for instance, The Other Boleyn Girl, which I know you love as a film, in the novel, I write about a feast given by Cardinal Wolsey, and I describe the colour of the gowns of Mary Boleyn in the novel. And actually, I know that her gown is green at that feast because I've got the records of the Master of the Revels of the Wardrobe. So sometimes you just seem to know everything about even a specific party on a specific day. And other times, the woman leaves the court or drops out of history, or nobody bothers to record what she's doing that day. And you're casting about going like, well, I'll just have to wait till she turns up again in the record. And in the meantime, I'm going to guess that she goes to Hever, or I'm going to guess she goes with the court to France. And I'm going to write that scene as if it was history. So that's how the history and the fiction work together for me. But not everybody does it the same way. Some people like a lot more fiction. Some people don't mind so much about the history. That's just how I prefer to do it.
Well, I did my research on you once it occurred to me. I've been reading this book, and the stuff that I've been watching on TV with my husband is in along with these, with how you write, the stories that you write about. And I saw on YouTube how you go through your process, and you were walking around what I believe to be a big castle, and you're observing it and taking in. So your research isn't just reading through a book or doing a Google search. You're going to experience it, and then you write that for us. And so I like discovering that about you. And the other question, come on.
I was just going to say, one of the things that's really, really important to me is going to places, because even a description, even a wonderful description in a book, doesn't give you the sense of, the smell in the air, or the quality of the light, or how big the sky feels when you get there. There's all sorts of things that you can't imagine from a written description, that you can't even get from a film or a video of it. So I do love to go to the locations. And also I'm someone who really loves the countryside. So walking somewhere that I'm going to describe my heroine walking is always incredibly inspiring to me. That's really, really important too.
I do not know that we'll get another chance, but I want to say thank you again for the work that you're writing, that I'm able to read, and that they are able to adapt into films. I preferred the book. My husband preferred the movies. You have you've won us both over. It's something that we can do together, and I definitely want to share that with you, because it's often hard for us to find things that we both agree on watching or reading, and your book is successfully doing that, and we'll have to go back. And this is the third book in the Fair Mile series, right?
Right, yes. So this is Dawnlands, and it's the story of the in a way, the successful return of a woman who comes up from poverty and who finds herself at the end of the novel as the squire of the house where she was a servant. So it's a book about a woman triumphant as well.
I love it. And women, we didn't get into everything because you champion women in history and bring out, where we have been a voice, or where we have been dominant, or where we have been able to successfully manipulate, so that we can have a better situation. I mean, Women's History Month, I have to have you come back, because there's so many things that I think we don't even understand. I was looking in DAWNLANDS, and one page that grabbed me was someone having to sit on the floor, and how significant sitting on the floor is as a lowly position. So just writing something like that draws a picture to the hierarchy, who's where and why. I know you're on a book tour. I know you have to go. But before you leave, tell everybody what This Needs to Be Said, where you would like for them to pick up a copy of DAWNLANDS.
Well, you should be able to get it in all independent bookshops. You should be able to get it in chain bookshops also. It's available as an Audible book. It's available as an ebook. You should be able to get it anywhere. If you can't get it anywhere, tell me, and I will tell my publishers. But honestly, I think it's called Dawnlands. It's available now. You should be able to buy it anywhere, and I hope you enjoy it.
Thank you so much. Much success as you continue to make the world a better place.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for tuning in to This Needs to Be Said. I hope you've gained something from what has been shared. Send me your comments and show ideas through the website at tntbsmedia.com. I'd love to hear from you.